and welcome to RC Industry.
Well, hey, if you don't like fixing things and making them just like brand used, this channel may not be for you. Hey, it's Rick here, and we're back in the garage. I wanted to make some picture frames for some pictures that my wife and I bought at a art show. So I'll show you those here in a minute. But what I wanted to show you is how I'm going to take some of this old wood, and let me just kind of show that to you. A friend of mine got all this wood. He tore out some stuff in his house, and so he took most of the nails out of it, but I went ahead and cleaned the rest of the nails up. And so we've got pieces like this, and what I'm going to do is rip these into 1.5 by 1.5 strips, and then we're going to run the not the planer, but the router, and we're going to route a groove down in here so that the picture will recess down in there. And so I'm going to show you how I do that. You guys may know all about that kind of stuff, but I'm going to show you how I do it. All right, show you more. Okay, so what we got here is some 1.5 by 1.5. They consider that a 2 by 2. You know, whoever come up with that craziness. But anyway, you can buy these, you know, at your favorite lumber yard. An 8-footer costs about $3 and something. This was all junk wood to be thrown away. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut some more of these. There's no sense in boring you guys with that. And then I'm going to set up my router, and I'll show you how we're going to put a groove down in here so the picture can be recessed into the frame. Alright, show you more. Okay, so you can see I went ahead and set the router up, and I've already put one groove in there. See how that is in there like that? And I'll show you how I set this thing up. It's got a gauge on the front of it here, and I wanted 1/2 inch, so that's about what I've got. The gauge is a little off, but that's probably just under 1/2, because this is pretty thick, and I wanted it to be enough recessed down into there that the canvas of those paintings will actually be, it'll be, you know, like up to here, and then I can put a brat in there to hold it to keep the canvas from falling out. So, but anyway, so I adjusted this. This has got a little stop on it and some different things, and a router wants to go one way, or at least this one does. So whenever you're powering it, you're going to want to cut here and go this way with it, and then when you get to the end, you have to clamp it and come down here and then do the end and catch up to where you're at. So I'm going to set you up and let you watch me do that. It's kind of boring, so I'll put you on time lapse, and we'll make some grooves in here. Alright, show you more. Okay, well, I think you get the idea here. So I am going to finish this up, and then we'll get back after this, because we're going to have to get the saw down over there, the miter saw, and do some measuring and cutting, and then we're going to nail these together, probably glue them too, and show you more. Okay, guys. Well, here's the two paintings that I'm making the frames for, and there's the other one. So basically what I'm going to do is get my measurements across here and across here, and then we're going to go out and build 2 frames. I think these are the same size, but we'll verify that. And then we're going to go out and I'm going to show you how to build the frames and why we're going to do it the way we're going to do it. So, alright, Show you more. Are you guys going to help me build frames? Are you going to help? What about you? Huh? Okay. So what we got here is 16 by 20 is our frame. So we're 16 high and 20 wide. And we want to make that just a little bit bigger than that, maybe by a 1/16 of an inch, because we want that frame to sit down in that slot. And this is what I'm talking about. You saw earlier where we took the router and routed out this groove. So you see there's a groove right here. So we want that painting to sit down in there, kind of like, well, I don't have anything laying here. Let's see. Much like this, I guess. So see, it would sit down in there like this, and then we can take a little brad or some sort of a painting edge. They make those little things that, like window pane edges that you tap in to hold the window pane in before you glaze it. Any of that stuff will hold that painting in there. Okay, so the first thing we got to do is get our angles. So we know that we're going to have to do 45s because we want to 45 up. So we've got our 45 set here on the machine, and it's easy because it says 45 right here. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to get this lined up. Firewood for the fireplace. So that's good. We'll just put that right there. Now, so we want to come up, we're from this edge right here. I don't think you can see that. Let me get you down here. Yeah, see? We want to come from this edge in this corner here. Not out here, but in here. So we're going to come, let's just do a 16. So 16 is going to be right here. Okay, I made a mark, so let's double check it. So we're going to go from right here to right there, and that's actually a little short. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So if you come down here on this edge like we were doing, and we put our 16 right there, see our line is actually about 15 7/8. So we want to do it just a little longer than that. That's the idea. So let's make our mark right here, and let's see what that one looks like. That looks like that's 16 and well, maybe not quite an 1/8, probably 7/37. I don't know what it is. I never was good with fractions. One of them marks on there. Okay, how's that? So let's cut that and see how that works. Okay, so I'm not trying to oversimplify this or anything, but I wanted you to see the mark. And then this saw has a little light that you can turn on, which actually shows a little shadow. I don't know if that's showing up on there. Yeah, it is. And so you can tell by that shadow or that light if you need to adjust this either way, because that shows right where the blade is going to cut. So that's where we're at right there. So we're going to cut that. Now if we measured right, that should be 16 inches right in there, or just a little more. And that's what it looks like. It's just a little more. It's like 16. It's actually like 16 1/4, so it might be too much. Let's go check it against the painting. Okay, so here's the painting. And so what we're looking at, let me turn the painting over, because what we're looking at is the fit right here. And if you look at that, that is like got about 1/8 of an inch at each end. Same way as down here. So that's pretty good. I think we could probably take about a saw's length off of this and make it tighter. So let's look and see if we can do that. since we already have our angle set on this direction, let's just get this up here against the straight edge. Careful not to put your fingers in the saw, guys. So we just took just a skosh off of that. And let's see what we got here. Yeah, I like that better because now we've probably got a true 1/16 of an inch at each one. And that horn honking was somebody running the stoplight down there, or stop sign down there. They almost got ran over because two people decided they weren't going to stop, and they were going cross traffic. So I don't understand people. Anyway, back to this. So yeah, so we've got about a 1/16 of an inch there and a 1/16 here, and that will allow some movement of this once we get it in the frame, because nothing is exact. And so we want to get it in there and get it set the way we want it, and then we'll put some wedges in here or small nails or something to hold. You don't want to go through the painting, but we'll go to the edge of the painting, and that'll hold it in there. So, all right, show you more. Okay, well, let's verify that the painting will fit down in there. It's actually pretty good. Whoops. I think that should work pretty good. I want a little bit of slop on each end, and it looks like we have that. Got about the same distance all the way around. Maybe hard to see on the camera, but we do. So, all right. So now what we want to do is I'm going to use my nailer, and we're going to put a little glue down on these joints, and we're going to put about 3 brads in each one, and then we're going to clamp them with some of these clamps. You've seen me use them clamps on the old war wagon here recently when we redid the brakes, and I still have not found my caliper clamp. I've got an actual clamp that I use for caliper, and for a caliper like that, and I still haven't found it, so it'll show up one of these days. Alright, let's see if we can get that nailed in there. And you wouldn't really need to do this glue, but I just want to make sure, make sure you get these lined up correctly. I just want to make sure that if the, who knows, things get kind of rough in our house with dogs, so you just never know. What ball's going to get bounced up against the wall, or, And I wouldn't do this if I was you. Because if that nail glares out, it can go right in your hand. Trust me ask me how I know. Yeah, I got the t-shirt for that. Okay, so there we go. That's basically what we're going to do there. Now let's get this other one on here. Whoops. Now, like I said, we're nailing this, but we're going to clamp it too, and that'll kind of make, that way when the glue dries, why, we kind of got it where we want it. Oops, that one moved on me, guys. All you got to do is just kind of do that, and let's get it back up out of there. Alright, let me get something. I got to pull that nail. Let me get something to do that with. Alright, let's get this pulled out of there. Now, if I was going to do this a whole bunch, I'd make me a jig to hold this frame in while I nailed it, but, it's just not that big a deal. Okay. Let's try this again. See how that one popped through there? If my hand had been there, that went right in there. Gotta be careful, guys. Luckily, that's on the back side, so we don't have to cut a new piece. Alright. So there we go. So let's put this down here. Let's put some clamps on this thing. Let's put it here. I was saying, that's what it probably is, but I don't know, and I said, we don't fish over, so. Alright. Now we can put that off to the side, and that, once that's dry, then we'll sand the edges and we'll get these painted. Alright, show you more. Okay, it's been about an hour and a half or so. So, what we're going to do is take these loose. And guys, I know these aren't perfect, and but we make things like brand used here, and I wanted to show that you can reuse things, and that's kind of what the goal here. So, so what I want to do once we get those done is I want to take my sand and just kind of make sure that these edges aren't real super sharp. And, just kind of go like that around there. My antique sandpaper here. I think you kind of get the idea. Just get that thing kind of cleaned up, and we're going to use some paint on them here in a minute. Wipe that off a little bit. So that's basically what we got. Okay? So, I'm going to get the other one ready, and then I'll show you how I'm going to paint them. Alright, show you more. Alright. I'm going to put these on, because my fingernails are dirty enough. And this stuff is not very cleanup friendly. And this is very old, Rust-Oleum, but we're just using it on wood. So, but it is an enamel, should cover in one coat, and I don't care that if it doesn't really cover it totally, because if the wood grains show through, I'm fine with that. So, first thing I want to do is paint this grooved in area, because depending on how accurate my router was, there may be some of that will show. And I'm using a throwaway paintbrush here because I don't really care if, I just don't want to have to clean it, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just using, and if it gets a few hairs in it, we'll just try to pick them out. I know these kind of brushes tend to leave some hairs along, proving that they've done their job. And this paint is really old, and you can tell that by the way it's going on. But I think it's going to make a cool looking frame paint, because it'll almost be like a stain. So, that said, let's flick this baby over and commence to paint this thing. Okay, well I think you kind of get the idea here. I'm sure all of you know how to paint. See how I'm getting that wood grain look, and that's kind of what I'm going for there. See? All right, I'm going to finish this up and I'll show you more. Okay, well, as you can see, that's what we got right there. And again, you know, I've got the grain is coming through on those, and that's kind of what I was going for. You know, I want them to look kind of antique-y. Is that a word? Antique-y? Anyway, you know, old like me. How about that? And I wanted to tell you, I don't never just throw a brush like this in the trash, you know, dunk, because that's an oil base and trapped fumes in a closed container, you know, sometimes that's not a good thing. Anyway, what I'm saying is I'm going to let this dry and probably stick it outside, you know, back there where I hide everything behind the bushes, until it's good and dry and, you know, no smells, and then we'll throw it away then. Okay, well, thanks for coming along on this little journey to make some picture frames. So we took some old throwaway wood that one of my friends gave me, and we sawed it. You saw us do that. We took the router and put grooves in it. Then we used our miter saw and cut it and nailed it together and glued it and clamped it and painted it. And, well, we sanded it too. I forgot about that. And anyway, you get the picture. So that's what we did. You too can do stuff like that. I mean, it didn't cost much. Yes, I did have some tools, that electric nailer, battery operated nailer. You know, that's handy to have. And then of course my miter saw. But you know, I mean, you wouldn't have to have that fancy of equipment. You can just use a saw. My original miter box was a little square thing like this with a saw, and it had slots in it. I mean, it was hand saw, you know. The point is, you can make things just like brand new. Thanks for coming along today. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks to all my new subscribers. We are well on our way to 1,000, and that's great. No Name Nationals, don't forget about that. If you follow my other stuff on this channel with the Krusty Chrysler and the old Dodge War Wagon, we're going to be taking and going to the event down in Sykeston. So be sure and follow that if you haven't. That's going to be some fun if you're into anything like that. So remember, I'm on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on MeWe, and we're on Rumble. So you can find us. Ricky Allen, RCindustry. We're there, man. Reach up there and hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, hit that like button. Make a comment. That stuff is what's really helping us build this channel. Anyway, thanks to everybody who is subscribed to my channel. You don't know how much it means to me. This is awesome. So, just remember, here at RCindustry, we making it just like brand news, baby.